Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas. I'm joined by Michael Cohen. Cohen, we're going to need your expertise here because you've known Trump better than just about anyone, and people are talking about what we see, his apparent cognitive issues, health issues, because we're observing it as human beings. And when we saw his press conference today, where he tried to, I guess, dispel that there were issues. I mean, I'm not sure if we've got the photos of just kind of how he looks, and then his hand is like a total almost bluish color as well. And then he was asked by Peter Doocy, how did you find out over the weekend you were dead? Did you see that? But even Trump's response, Cohen, like you could laugh off this response and just basically be like, come on, I was golfing and his response was, no, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I heard that. I did hear that. I get reports. It's just even like, it wasn't like laughing it off. It was, you just watch for yourself. Here, play this clip.
President Trump, something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really?
I didn't see that.
You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports.
Well, look, let me be very clear about something. First of all, he doesn't look dead. All right. So to everybody that was sitting there and, already joyous over somebody's loss of life, he clearly is not. I'll tell you what my thoughts are. All right. And I've seen this over the decade and a half that I was by his side. He probably got COVID, or he probably had the flu, something like that, and that's why he just stayed away. Maybe over the course of the decade and a half that I was by the man's side, I saw him get sick twice, literally twice. And both times, just disappeared, went upstairs, didn't come out, whatever it might be. So, look, Peter Doocy usually asks good questions. The way I think he framed this one was sort of stupid. I'll never forget. I started getting a whole bunch of phone calls to my house. That's when we had a landline. This was, of course, years ago. And all of a sudden, this is when Trump had just won the election, claiming that I had died. And all of a sudden, it's on the internet. You could check it out for yourself, that I committed suicide. It was a terrible thing. I contacted, obviously, the site that put it up. I told them they really should take it down. I'm clearly not dead. It's probably, like I said, COVID, or he had the flu or something like that. He doesn't look bad, right? He looks like himself. Why not just turn around and say, this is the part, Ben, that confuses me the most. Is there anybody here who, I don't know, can turn around and say, I've never gotten sick before? I mean, thank God I've never gotten COVID, but I've gotten the flu plenty of times. Is it so bad to just turn around and say, I got the flu? I mean, great. I got the flu. Okay. So I took a flu shot. I laid in bed for a couple days, and here I am back in action. But no. Showing that he even got a flu, he got a cold, he got COVID, makes him what, less human? I truly don't understand it. And then all this speculation that's going on. Oh, we haven't seen him in 3-4 days, means he must have died. Look at his hand, it's all black and blue and so on. No, he's clearly not dead, and he's clearly not going anywhere. So
Well, look, he's clearly not dead because we saw we saw him
Right.
today. So I will stipulate to the undisputed fact with you, where I may throw in a disputed fact if this was a summary judgment. Is I don't think he's looking. I don't think he's looking great. I don't think he's looking good. I think when you looked at his hand and the way it does look, I don't zoom in on that hand, Jeremy. We got the photo right there. I mean, the Trump regime says it's because he shakes a lot of hands, and it is, just a minor issue about blood not getting to the heart. But then you see that what we should.
Anthony, Ben, can I stop you for one quick second? We have so many stupid people. I know in our comments here. Is it sticking up for somebody who turns around and says, my opinion, knowing him for a decade and a half, working next to the guy for a decade and a half, when you don't know, when these people don't know him for 30 seconds, and I'm telling you, I believe the guy probably had COVID or the flu or something like that. All of a sudden, I'm sticking up for him. Okay, hold on, Ben. Can I change my tune for a second? Donald Trump died. It's actually it's an AI generated robot hologram that's standing there. Okay. And it's got the AI personality of Donald Trump. So he's going to be equally as bad as he always is. But, look, it's not easy to AI generate him. So this is how he looks AI generated.
Well, Cohen, my question for you, though, is when you knew him, was he unable to walk in straight lines? Did he always zigzag back and forth and he could? Okay. So that's something new. When you saw him, was his hands discolored, and did they look blue, and did he have to cover up his hands with makeup? Okay. When you saw him, were his ankles the size of watermelons? And did you know that was a thing of his? Did you see? When you knew him, would he struggle to speak in complete sentences where you would say, I don't think this guy can even put words together? Or was he bombastic and loud, but at least you were able to say, okay, I at least understand the sentence framework that he used?
Yes. I mean, he gave clear, concise comments. Okay. You may not like the comments, but
he spoke in a clear and concise manner. So the exercise that I just walked us through, though, is the question then becomes the following, which I think is fair game to ask, because he is in the Oval Office. There are a bunch of other weird things that are happening in the Oval Office. Like, I'll give you another data point. And again, I'm not trying to be conspiratorial, but do you think it's normal, Cohen, that at the White House, with all of the resources that you have at the White House, that they would be disposing of garbage by opening up the second floor window or the third floor window and throwing bags out the window of the White House? Like, do you think with all of the resources that they have, and I'll show you the video, people are watching it. This is a real video. This is not.
By the way, so they obviously asked him this question. Peter Doocy asked this question, and Trump's comment was, those windows don't open, that it's AI generated. And I'm saying to myself, who would possibly AI generate somebody throwing shit out the window? I mean, it's one thing if you were throwing, say, Barron out the window, or Don Jr. or a bed or something like that. But I don't understand this. This is like a bag of something. And I'm wondering how can we actually fact check what Trump's comments is that these windows are all bulletproof, that they weigh over 600 pounds each, that they're sealed shut. And I don't know if that's true. By the way, I'm curious if any president before him, whether it's Biden or Obama, whether we have any photos of that window or any of the windows opened.
Why would you be chucking garbage bags out a window of the freaking? You have unlimited resources. You've got Secret Service. You could hire whoever.
Okay, but I want to know, what was it that they were throwing out the window?
Here's the thing, and this is why, though, Cohen, I think that people are saying, what the hell is going on here? So a spokesperson for the White House confirmed via email that the clip was authentic and explained what it showed. This is what the White House said. It was a contractor who was doing regular maintenance while the president was gone. Now,
oh, shit.
Now, Donald Trump over the weekend attacked a subcontractor who he claimed put a 25-foot gash in the limestone of the Rose Garden, which became a stone garden right now. So that's how Trump has spent more time exposing a subcontractor, since he doesn't want to pay the subcontractor, than exposing the Epstein files. By the way, tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, we will be hosting on Midas Touch The Victims on Capitol Hill. Make sure you tune into you'll see it's already live right now, that feed. So make sure you set a reminder to be there tomorrow. But Cohen, my point is, that makes no sense. Like, we all objectively, what contractor is going to go, you're working in the White House and you're like, where should I put this garbage bag? You know how Donald Trump does the weightlifting where he tries to mock I mean, what contractor is going to go, that's what I'm going to do with the garbage bag. I'm going to chuck it throw it on the floor. But then when Trump was asked about it, I'll show you both responses. Ducey says, there's a video circulating online now. What's your response? And Trump goes, it's AI generated. Here, this is it. Let's play the first one.
There's a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residence upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI generated. Actually, you can't open the windows. You know why? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
So that's a fake video?
Well, it's got to be, because I know every window up there. The last place I'd be doing it is that, because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every window, I've never seen a window that's, in fact, my wife was complaining about it the other day. She said, love to have a little fresh air come in, but you can't. They're bulletproof. And number one, they're sealed. And number two, each window weighs about 600 pounds. You have to be pretty strong to open them up. No, that has to be, where was the window? Let me see.
Maybe from the renovations.
Which is the window?
It looks like this is on the 15th Street side, I think. Yeah. So right here.
Yeah, those windows are sealed. Those windows they're all sealed. You can't open them.
The guy lies about it. It's the craziest lie.
This is the craziest thing. So it's all sealed. It's AI. And so, okay. Why not follow up, as you just did prior a second ago, Ben, and show him, right? He saw the video of them throwing things out, but show him what came out of the White House in terms of a statement that it was being thrown out by a contractor. First, the only question we have for you is there a contractor on the second floor? I mean, this is Patriot Takes Habit of a spokesperson for the White House confirmed. Okay, so question for you. If a spokesperson for the White House confirmed by email, put the email up that the clip is authentic, well, Mr. President, are you sure that the windows are actually 600 or 800 pounds? You can't open them. And if Melania really wants air, why not? Why doesn't she just go up on the roof like you did? Right? I mean, I'm sure you can get some air, or maybe go take a walk in the backyard or something like that. I mean, by the way, is Melania even in D.C. or is she still in New York? Who knows? But my only question that I really want answered, the only question is, what the hell were they throwing out?
Well, and then Trump tells on himself and he goes, the thing with AI, if you don't like the answer, you just blame it on AI. You just say AI did it. Here, play this clip.
What you were saying regarding the federal.
It's the kind of thing they do. And one of the problems we have with AI, it's both good and bad. If something happens really bad, just blame AI. But also they create things, it works both ways. If something happens that's really bad, maybe I'll have to just blame AI. But there's truth to it because I see so many phony things. I saw something as I was growing up, from the time I was a baby till now. I said, who did that? It was AI generated. So it's a little bit scary, to be honest with you. But those windows are all very heavily sealed.
Do you know what he's talking about, Ben? I actually saw. It was a video. I don't know. What they did is they morphed him from a baby all the way to being 79 years of age, playing some fantastic music, talking about strength and power and resilience. So he's talking about something that's actually very flattering to him versus, of course, what we're looking at here, which is not an AI-generated video of somebody throwing a fucking trash bag out of one of the windows. What is that? The second floor there on the 15th Street side, as they turned around and said, they're throwing it. I want to know whether or not these windows can actually open or not. And in fact, I'm sure there had to be a journalist in that room who can turn around and to say, but yeah, Mr. President, actually those windows are not sealed. We've seen them open before. Any idea who is there? Don't you know who's inside the White House? When I don't know.
Donald Trump's perspective on AI, as you just said, though, is framed around Donald Trump. I like AI because he saw some morphing video that showed him as a child to an adult that was flattering. So AI is good because they made that video of me. But AI is also something that I can use to disseminate disinformation. If I don't like something, you just blame it on AI, like he just did a moment ago. But also the problem with AI is then people could do bad AIs of me. So it's all me versus what is this? Like that's not what your freaking job is as the president of the United States. On all of these issues, whether we're talking about AI, whether we're talking about vaccines, whether we're talking about energy, whether we're talking about fiscal policy, whether you're talking about, you name it, health, whatever. Trump's perspective is his own psychosis, his own malignant narcissism, his own dystopian quirks that he projects. And by the way, I'm like, it's okay, I think, not Trump, but like in general, like if I have certain things that I do that maybe I'm superstitious about that like people don't agree with. We all have those things, right? That, people may go, oh, like that's a weird thing that you do, or that's a strange view, that you have, and that's a strange perspective. I'll give you a perfect example, Cohen. I'll give you a perfect example. I didn't get my wisdom teeth pulled until I was 40 years old. And
yeah, by the way, that's very odd.
All of the very odd.
It's very odd.
Because people told me.
Now all of a sudden you're going to get these same idiot commentators here. They're going to be like, what the fuck does Cohen know about medicine? What does he know about dentistry and so on? Well, only the fact that I was like 18 or 20 years old when I was
growing up. People told me, and it stuck with me, that actually you don't need your wisdom teeth pulled. It's a scam, and the dentists are just going to say that because it's part of the dentist scam. Now, until I got my first root canal and then realized, oh crap, I got to get my wisdom teeth pulled because the root canal was the most painful thing, the pain before that, when I was 40, you would have said, hey, Ben, those are a strange view that you had about it, and an incorrect view. And I would have said, nah. But my point is that as a leader, when I was a leader of a law firm, as a leader of a company, I don't then go and tell my employees or people, you know what? I'm going to impose my own belief on you, and you can't do this. At the highest, it was a really long, weird story to get to the point that I'm trying to make. which is that at the final level here, why is this guy or any like for the party that always told us federal government stay out, don't tread on me? All Trump knows how to do is tread on with his own views. And Gavin Newsom said it correctly. What Trump views government is doing things against people. What Newsom said is, I want government to do things for people. And that's a big difference. And Trump's, he doesn't like windmills, Cohen, right? Because he didn't like the windmills by his golf course in Aberdeen. So he takes that, the version of my wisdom teeth, and goes, you know what? We're not going to be competitive in energy anymore. It's like, why? What are you doing? We know this is going to hurt.
But right, but here's the thing. Much of his views, which are distorted in the long run, they have a predicate in reality. Okay? So it does take a lot of energy to produce energy from the windmills. They're also enormously expensive. And yes, there are some windmills that they rust out. They're no longer operational. They're the size of buildings in Manhattan. They're enormous. You don't realize how big these windmills are. And so what he does is he takes that small minutia of, we'll call it the quotient, and he makes that into the whole picture. If you know what I'm saying. He takes the grain of salt, right, or the grain of sand, and turns it into the beach. Or as the old proverb that even the dummies that are trying to troll me will turn around and say, it's like the one tree in the forest. It's still a tree. Can't argue with that, but it's not the forest. He makes that one tree into the entire forest. And that's the crazy part, because we all know what he's saying is just not true. All right. We all know it. All right. And it's like, believe me or believe your lying eyes and ears.
I looked at the chat, Cohen, and I started a very ferocious debate on wisdom teeth right now. And there are people going back and forth saying, don't do it. I've done it. It's compact. But here's the point that I'm making. And it's a great case study, which is you should have the freedom to make that decision on your own and not have the government or me or Cohen or somebody else in the chat impose it on you. And what Trump constantly does, and what these MAGAs have always done, under the banner of don't tread on me with the snake and the this and the that, is they're constantly treading. They're especially treading on women's rights. Oh my gosh. They want to control every aspect of it and treat women like second-class citizens or not citizens at all. They're certainly treading on the lives of really everybody other than the right-wing oligarchs at this point. And the people are feeling it. And then they say, you know, and I'll take the extension of my root canal or my wisdom teeth example.
Oh, here we go. Now you're going to choose them again.
When people are feeling pain, because right now people are living paycheck to paycheck. That is a form of psychological torture. People are worried they're going to lose health care. People are worried that they are not going to be able to afford to get an education. People are worried that their kids aren't going to be able to ever leave their home. We're seeing 18 to 29-year-olds defecting against MAGA more than everyone else as they see their future being absolutely screwed. But when people are feeling real pain, in cases, physical pain, psychological pain, and then Donald Trump says, you know what, though? We are living in a golden age right now. This is perfect. Okay. Everyone is doing great. You're doing wonderful. And people are like, I'm not doing wonderful. Stop it.
Here's the crazy thing. And I wrote about this in my Substack, and you guys crush it when you reset it with pictures and stuff. You crush it. Here's the crazy thing. People used to go to the supermarkets, to the groceries, the big box stores, and they used to pay by debit card. This is crazy stuff. I couldn't believe this. I was reading it in the Financial Times. Well, no, not anymore. You know, because before, when you use your debit card, you know, you have $1,000 in your debit card. You know how much that you could spend and what you're going to need that $1,000 for. But right now, they can't use their debit card. They're using a credit card. You say, well, what the hell's the difference? Well, one, you're buying your groceries or your items with your own money. The credit card, you're buying it on borrowed money. And what if you can't pay it back? Because, well, I don't know, maybe Trump didn't save you 1,500% on your medication. All right, maybe the cost of electricity has gone through the roof. Maybe, I don't know, everything because of tariffs is more expensive. You needed to buy your children back to school stuff, and it's twice the expense. So now what? Well, you can't use your debit card. You're using your credit card. And let me tell you something. This is where Republicans are losing ground. You see, Ben, there's people that will be like, oh, I don't believe what Cohen has to say. There's even a few people that every now and then will say, I don't believe what Ben Meiselas has to say.
Much fewer, though, than you.
Much, much, much fewer than me. And to them, by the way, to those who don't believe me, you get the two fingers salute. You fucking assholes. Anyway, my point is, you know what they believe? They believe their pockets. They know financially what's happening to them. And that's why Republicans are losing ground right now. And it's why I am forever turning around and saying, this is the time that the Democratic Party, this is the time people, Ben, thank God for people like you and myself, but mostly for people like you and others like Lincoln and Seneca and real folks where we have to get out and we have to speak to the people who feel disenfranchised, who feel left out, who are now beginning to turn around and question, wait, did I do the right thing in 2025? And people like you and me immediately jump up. No, you did not. And you're not going to be doing right again simply by voting party line. I don't want you to change your party affiliation. You want to be a Republican? You've been a Republican your whole life. Your father, your grandfather, your great-grandpappy, he was a Republican, so you want to be a Republican too? God bless. But you know what? If you vote for that Republican, the one who doesn't listen to the needs of his constituents, they're only placating that to the chief executive, well, vote off party line. Don't change your party affiliation. Just go ahead and vote off party line.
Well, a premature two-finger salute by Cohen against some members of the audience. A rarity.
Yeah.
But it
By
was,
the way,
it
I
was,
give it to him twice. Yeah.
it was a sarcastic two-finger salute, so it
No,
wasn't the
not
real
sarcastic,
one.
Straight up. Fuck
we'll-
you, you assholes.
We'll get the
I
real
guess you tell me, oh, Michael Cohen is in the Epstein file. Fuck you. I was in college. By the way, I was in college, you idiots, when Trump and Epstein were out there putzing around. I was in.
The audience is in Cohen's head right now. The audience is in Cohen's head right now. But look, one of the things that is very, very important, though, is, and you've called for it, the Epstein files in full need to be released. Redact some of the names, the names of the victims, but the victims will be on Capitol Hill tomorrow. Ro Khanna, Democratic Congress member. You have Republican Congress member Thomas Massie. They'll be leading this press conference, and I expect it to be a bipartisan group of people calling for the release of the Epstein files. But more importantly, we're going to hear from the victims, and many of these victims have never spoken publicly before. And this is what always should have happened. When we were discussing Epstein and Ghislaine, we've always been saying it from day one. This discussion needs to be centered not around Ghislaine, a convicted sex trafficker who should rot in prison. No, the conversation needs to be centered around the victims of Ghislaine, the victims of Epstein, and the victims are going to be able to have their voices heard tomorrow. So at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, we will be streaming it live. You can see, if you look at the lives right now on the Midas Touch channel, just give yourself a reminder. Make sure you're subscribed. Set a reminder on your personal calendar, especially if you're West Coast, because we're going to be up little bit on the earlier side tomorrow together. But we're going to be streaming that live here on the Midas Touch Network. Later today, I'm going to have Ro Khanna on, and he's going to walk us all through what we can expect is going to happen tomorrow. And we know right now, Thomas Massie has said there is a pressure campaign from the White House right now on 11 Republicans who co-sponsored his Epstein bill not to sign the discharge petition. I think there are also ones that the White House is not whipping that may be inclined to sign it as well. So as we're speaking right now, Donald Trump is not just covering up things being thrown out the window of the White House, not only covering up his health, but covering up the Epstein files. And, people are saying, is the health a distraction from the Epstein files? Is an Epstein files a distraction from his health? At some point, you have to just recognize, though, that Donald Trump is a walking, talking embodiment of chaos and destruction. What's happening with the CDC? What's happening with FEMA? What's happening with the Federal Reserve? What's happening with migrants? What's happening in every one of these areas? We could cover it all. We will cover it all. We've got a lot more to discuss. Like Cohen, this isn't really getting much attention. I mean, the European Union Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, was basically targeted for assassination by Russia. They jammed the GPS of her plane while it was flying. How else do you describe what that act is?
Well, what you describe, all right, if you are the president of the United States, is, but at least she didn't have to be on her phone. Sometimes I wish I didn't have to be on my phone either. I mean,
I wish Putin jammed my phone, is what Trump said. That was his response to an act. I want to talk to you about that and more. Let's take our first and only break of the show. You mentioned your Substack, the Michael Cohen Substack. And we post Cohen Substacks as well on the Midas Touch Substack. So subscribe to both. Subscribe to the Midas Touch YouTube channel. Subscribe to Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. Subscribe to the Mea Culpa audio podcast. We love the Mea Culpa audio podcast here at the Midas Touch Network. And we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break. We've got a lot to discuss. Michael Cohen. I'm Ben Meiselas. We'll give a real two-finger salute when we come back.
Oh, no. The two-finger salute stands.
Okay.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Now, look, you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Look, I'm so excited to see Saquon Barkley take the field this season. I'm thinking in that the first game, he can even have more than one rushing touchdown. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. And you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. So join millions of users and sign up today. Download the app today and use code BEATDOWN to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code BEATDOWN, BEATDOWN, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Look, I've seen chaos up close. I've been burnt by stress, bad decisions, and mornings that felt like interrogations. Coffee? Well, it used to be my armor, but it was fake armor. Jitters, crashes, brain fog. It made everything worse. Then I found mud water, and suddenly mornings didn't feel like a battlefield anymore. This isn't coffee pretending to be better. It's cacao, chai, turmeric, and adaptogenic mushrooms, real ingredients that actually do something. Lion's mane for focus, cordyceps for energy, reishi and chaga to support your immune system. No crash, no guilt, Just steady, clean energy that lets you think clearly instead of panicking at every headline. I mean, I drink it before I write, before I record, before I take on the day. And you know what? It keeps me grounded. And now there's Nourish. I mean, don't call it a protein shake. It's a brain and body shake. 25 grams of clean plant-based protein, nootropics, probiotics, adaptogens, no fillers, no fake sugar, cocoa, vanilla, and ingredients that actually help you recover, focus, and digest. In a world this messy, that's not luxury. It's survival. And everything in Mudwater is USDA certified organic, non-GMO, vegan, oh, get a load of this, kosher, and even kosher. Every ingredient has a purpose. There's nothing fake, nothing wasted. Basically, everything your morning coffee isn't. So if you're ready to stop fueling chaos and start fueling clarity, go to mudwater.com/beat. Right now, you get up to 43% off. That's free shipping and a rechargeable frother when you use my code BEAT. That's 43% off with code BEAT at mudwater.com, MUDWTR.com. And take it from me. Ground yourself, focus, and take the day by the throat. No crash, no apology, just results.
I truly wish there were more ads. I mean, just listening to you read those ads. It's,
hey, Ben,
yeah.
Should we send Trump some mud water?
Send him some mud. Send him some mud.
I wanna come clean on something. I think it's extremely important. I'm gonna do some breaking news here. All of my prize picks, and I am now 16 for 16. I think I won like $30 because I don't really play for money, right? $1. So I won like $30. My son gave me every single pick. Every single pick. I turned around and I said to him, "What do you think? What do you think I should do?" He goes, "No, take it for over. Are you joking?" He goes, he's probably going to end up with, with like 6 strikeouts at least. Lo and behold, 8. All right. So, I mean, I've literally won 16 for 16 thanks to my son.
Maybe I should host the next episode with your son and see his take.
I think so.
I think that's where your relationship with the audience, I think, is heading in the direction where it's going to be Ben and Michael Cohen's son. We get in the new. That's
all right. I'm just going to go with one of the other Meiselas brothers that sticks up for me. Yeah. Look, let me be very clear about something here. I am so proud of Midas Touch Network, and I hope that all of the brigaders are too. The fact that you're going to be hosting tomorrow the entire day, and all of the speeches and all of the comments by these victims, their voices need to be heard. Their voices, they deserve to be heard. They deserve whatever justice that they can get out of tomorrow's event. And I'm always concerned that mainstream media or cable news media, they're going to go in and out, and this one's going to end up doing something in the Oval Office, and this one's going to throw more shit out the fucking window, and the next thing you know, that they're going to be switching away from these victims. No. All right? We're not right now getting what we want. We need to change that. Okay, that's a process. But what's not a process, these victims coming forward and telling their tale, telling their stories, telling their anguish, and letting the entire country letting the whole world know exactly what happens. All right? That's going to help us to push Congress. And I'm talking about not the Democrats in Congress, the Republicans in Congress, from doing the right thing. All right? These women, these children who are now women deserve to have their stories told. And you know what? Like you, Ben, every single day, I write about it, I talk about it, I speak about it, I go on television about it. They need justice, and the country needs to be able to help to bring it to them. So I'm proud of you.
Well, I'm most proud. I appreciate that, Cohen. And I think we are very proud of all these victims who are going to be courageously coming forward tomorrow, sharing their story. And, what I try to do with this platform, and as many people have seen, is to cover the things that otherwise really wouldn't get the coverage. And I want to try to shape the way people start rethinking about media coverage. That's a major priority. So every single Bernie Sanders rally, we play, and so whether he's in West Virginia, whether he's in Utah, Michigan, you name it. Most recently, he was in Portland, Maine. We cover, I was in Kalamazoo recently. We cover the speeches, every one of them. Why? Because he's drawing bigger crowds than Trump during the campaign. And this is an off year. So when you have hundreds of thousands of people in total, but he fills up a stadium in Portland, Maine, 6,500 people. That's big in Portland, Maine. That's a huge crowd on an off political year. The fact that doesn't get coverage is wild to me. It's why I cover, as long as the people show up, I'm going to keep covering it. It's why I cover.
And I wonder how much these other news outlets are going to cover it in comparison to you. And then on Thursday, we'll talk about that.
One of the things, though, that I invite is healthy competition from them, which is, okay, you should play it. The audience, we're going to get a huge audience, right? People are going to show up here. It's going to grow our network, and we're doing the right thing, most importantly. So to me, where you center it around doing the right thing, and then the consequence is you can build a successful media network around doing the right thing, that's kind of a win-win. And corporate news is doing the wrong thing, and they're hurting their net. It's not like doing the wrong thing is like they're crushing their ratings. They're doing great. Quite the contrary.
Yep.
It's hurting them.
And your motto is more to the point. It's never wrong to do the right thing, to have these women and their voices, and to have their pain put out there and their stories told. First of all, they are all heroes. And you know what? You giving them that platform, that live streamed, uncut platform is truly spectacular.
When people know, look, we had Mamdani on before, when it wasn't cool to have a Mamdani on. We've been doing Epstein stories for 5 years now. We've been talking about Trump's connections with Epstein because I thought it was very important. We've been doing stories on Melania's background for many years because I just think there's some odd things there that at least deserve to have the questions be asked. We've done these stories every day. We do stories on ICE raids and what's happening in the different areas. And I try to show the videos of citizen journalists and where a family has a GoFundMe account because one of the family members have been disappeared. I try to show it and I go, hey, if you want to help out this family, here's the best way you can help out. Tim, we've been covering the protests, every single one of them. I'm going to have on in the next day or two, maybe tomorrow, I think, I'm having the leaders of 5051, of Indivisible, and Move On, who are all going to be here talking about the next No Kings, which is going to be bigger than the last No Kings that took place right around Trump's military parade. But anyway, Cohen, I want to talk about a few other topics. One, I want to talk about what we talked about before the break, which is Donald Trump being asked about this assassination attempt on Ursula von der Leyen, the European Union Commission president. And to your point, Donald Trump says, I'd love for that to happen to me. If I can disconnect from my phone, that's great. Here, play this clip.
Okay.
We talked about controlling the sky. On Sunday, the satellite signal of Ursula von der Leyen's plane was alleged.
With Ursula? Well, she had an interesting event. She's a tremendous woman. And so what are you asking me about her?
NATO is concerned about it, and too, about this.
True, NATO is concerned about it. Well, nobody knows where it came from, but they did take away her ability to use a phone. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that could happen to me. I'd be very happy.
And did you see these clowns in the background, like Shady Vance and whoever the fuck the other two idiots are? That is in circle of jerks. I'm with you on that, New York. Right? I mean, they're sitting there laughing about that. This is some sort of, I wish it would happen to me. Really? Really? I mean, You want somebody to take over the GPS of your aircraft? You want them to be able to take over the GPS system and the communication systems? By whether it's your phone or in the plane. This is crazy stuff. And the fact that it's not a bigger story, Ben, I'm with you on that one. I don't get it.
Cohen, Russia attacked an American fully owned factory called Flex in Western Ukraine. Then they brought on Sergei Lavrov on to Meet the Press, where Kristen Welker asked, "Did you do that?" And when I was telling the story to my wife's like, "What?" And Lavrov was like, "No, it was a mistake." I go, No. The foreign minister of Russia said, "Well, we're going to have to do what we're going to have to do. If we think that they're building military weapons, of course we're going to attack it." They attacked an American factory in Ukraine and very far west by the NATO border. And there's not even a statement by Donald Trump condemning it. When J.D. Vance was asked about it, Vance was like, "That's war. That's what happens." So then after that, and last week, Russia attacks a British council building in Kyiv, and they attack a European Union commission building in Kyiv as well. And these are like direct acts of war. Russia's doing it on purpose to be furtive and provocative and to say F you to the United States and Europe. And Trump does nothing. And how about this? Over this weekend, long weekend, China hosted the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting in Tianjin. This was probably one of the most significant international conferences in the past 50 years, 75 years, because you had Prime Minister Modi of India, who's no longer returning the phone calls of Donald Trump, basically symbolically showing by like laughing at Trump with Putin and Xi Jinping that Modi is now in the camp of China, and Putin and China and all of these other, Vietnam, all these other countries were there to show their support of China as the new global hegemonic power. That's what was happening. And then China is doing a military parade following that to show its strength, where Kim Jong-un and Putin are going to be there. Donald Trump has destroyed our alliances. He's brought all these other countries closer together behind a new China-led polarity in the global order. And Trump's asked, so China's having this military parade. Does any of this concern you? Here's what Donald Trump says when he's asked, China is having a military parade. Let's play it.
It's going to be crime-free, and it's going to be spick and span. It's going to be, you'll be proud of Washington again. Go ahead, please.
Sir, China's having a massive military parade that President Putin and Kim Jong-un will be attending. Do you interpret that as a challenge to this? And are you concerned at all about those countries trying to be some sort of counterweight?
Not at all. China needs us, and I have a very good relationship with President Xi, as you know, but China needs us much more than we need them. No, I don't see that at all, no. And I had actually a very good meeting with President Putin a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if anything comes out of it. If it doesn't, we'll take a different stance.
And how crazy, seriously, are some of these responses, right? He doesn't think that it's an issue. China needs us more than we need them. Okay, breaking news. That's not accurate. In fact, what we have been doing. Do you know how long the United States has been massaging Modi and India to try to bring them to the side of democracy, democratic republic? And in one very swift move with a 50% tariff, he pushed them into the hands of our adversaries. We shit on our allies. That's the new motto in DC. And we cozy up to our adversaries. And now you're going to wonder why they're all getting together. Do you know that this SCO between Turkey, Iran, right, North Korea, China, Russia, and India, they constitute, get a load of this, brigaders, ready? I'm going to feed even the stupid ones. 43% of the world's population exist in that SCO, with more than 25% of the world's economy. Really? And you think they need us? They're now trading with each other. We're going to feel it. And when we feel it, oh boy, then you're going to really know you made a mistake.
And his responses, though, to these sensitive issues, just the way he verbalizes it, is this concerning to you? Now, like a little baby, like now, like what is like? But for real, like what? That's not like okay and acceptable behavior. There's a reason why diplomacy is handled in a very careful and diplomatic way
By diplomats.
and by diplomats, and that the language that even former President Biden would use when discussing Taiwan and China, when discussing India and Pakistan, when discussing Japan and South Korea, you have to be very appreciative of the historical context within which these countries exist in, and how making a simple statement and having reflecting a historical perspective or words can create a diplomatic crisis that results in pain to Americans and pain around the world. And when Donald Trump with India said that he was the reason that the dispute in Kashmir, the terrorist attack that led to a military conflict between India and Pakistan, that Trump solved the war. This, 75-year, Trump solved it, and then demanded that Modi recommend Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize because the military general of Pakistan, Munir, recommended Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, as Pakistan also gave lots of money to Trump's Bitcoin venture, World Liberty Financial, which is run by Steve Witkoff's son, I think Scott, who's one of the people who helped run that venture, although Witkoff will say, it has nothing to do with Pakistan trying to curry influence in the Trump regime. Modi and the Indian people are absolutely pissed at this behavior, and now they went from a population that was supportive of the United States to now they're like, see you later. We're seeing that in Brazil. We're seeing that in Canada. We're seeing that across the world, Cohen. And our corporate news, a typical story here is Donald Trump says that Putin agreed to security guarantees and was open to a ceasefire. And Donald Trump says that Putin would be into bilateral and multilateral communications with Zelensky and Putin and Trump. And Donald Trump said that we brought in $8 to $15 trillion in tariff revenue. And Donald Trump, it's like, stop centering your stories around Donald Trump said. You can show what he said, but do it how we do it. You can show it, but then fact check it and say the following. Let me give you this basic piece of logic. If Donald Trump brought in $8 to $15 trillion already, then why would Congress need to raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion?
That's what I was going to just say. I was literally just going to say the same thing. Why are we now once again looking at a potential government shutdown?
We have $15 trillion. We could be making it rain.
Make it rain is right. Everybody should be getting their bonus checks like if this was Kuwait. So let me ask you one additional question. I think we should kind of end on this topic here. Did you hear the rant at that presser about AI being funded by tariffs, that we are the leader in AI technology of the world? And the only reason that that is so is because of the tariffs that have been collected. How come I somehow remember that AI has been around for, I don't know, 4 years. So if we only started collecting tariffs, let's just say on Trump's day one, 6 months ago, how is it that AI is fully funded and why America leads the world in AI technology because of tariffs? It's a I don't even a morph that I just don't understand.
Well, also in terms of, and this is where we need to improve the literacy and the understanding of things, right? A lot of these semiconductors, which are needed to power AI, as well as the energy needed to power AI, because it uses massive computation power, but massive amounts of energy are needed to power it. And so when you're wondering why are your energy prices going up as well, it's because the overall aggregate energy prices are going up as a result of AI, Bitcoin mining, and all of these things. Now, former President Biden recognized this and said, well, one of the issues that we had during COVID was supply chain issues of bringing semiconductors here. Yes, we have a great relationship with Taiwan, but we can't be dependent upon Taiwan, and we certainly can't be dependent on China to get semiconductors, and we need to be making it here in the United States. So what did we do? We created something called the CHIPS Act, which invested billions of dollars into semiconductor manufacturers here. And those are the companies that, since the CHIPS Act passed, have been thriving. NVIDIA, Palantir, Intel, right? Trump's plan with Intel is, and by the way, with the CHIPS Act money came conditions that the corporations had to report that it was using the money in a way to benefit the overall government, or rather the people, to fulfill these objectives of bringing AI here. So there was a significant reporting requirement. So Donald Trump is trying to undo the CHIPS Act, undo all of the Infrastructure and Inflation Reduction Act investments in energy, and that goes side by side with CHIPS Act stuff. We do need to explore new sources of energy in the future, and people are looking at nuclear energy. Can you do safe nuclear energy in the future? Because our energy needs need to be met, and can solar and wind complement this path towards alternative forms of energy as we explore? Can there be other safe forms of energy too? And it's been effective. It's worked. Trump has destroyed all of that type of stuff. The tariffs are actually hurting. Trump is shutting down the forms of energy needed to power AI. What Trump is doing is he's making people pay tribute to him, like NVIDIA and Intel, and then they can do business with China. Meanwhile, the intellectual property rights that China always wanted access to from NVIDIA, which Biden would not allow, because now you're going to allow China to replicate the technology. And if they have access to these new chips that are being pioneered in America, they'll figure out ways to replicate it. But if you pay Trump 20% of your profits from China, or 20% whatever from China, you now get to do business there, even if it's against the overall national security interest. And now our chips industry is being actively hurt, and Trump's like, oh, it's the tariffs that are doing it. So I gave a complicated example there, but those are the undisputed facts of AI, of chips, investment into chips, the importance of alternative forms of energy. And then Trump goes, tariffs. How would taxing our importers help AI? So Cohen,
you do know that he wasn't talking about technological chips. He was talking about Tostitos.
He was definitely talking about
yes, because this whole thing is crazy. None of it makes any sense at all. AI has nothing to do with the tariffs, because so far, my friends, Not only have we not taken in a single dollar in tariffs, if we have, nobody knows where it went because there is no separate bank account that he keeps claiming the money is going into. It just doesn't exist.
Well, look, we covered a lot. My wisdom teeth, Trump's speech, Trump's health, AI, people throwing things from the White House. We've covered a lot of issues. I want to thank everybody for watching. A reminder, subscribe to Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. Subscribe to his audio podcast, Mea Culpa. Subscribe to his Substack, the Michael Cohen Substack. Subscribe to the Midas Touch Substack as well. And we appreciate you as always. Make sure to tune in tomorrow morning, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific. The Epstein and Ghislaine victims speaking out here on the Midas Touch Network. On Capitol Hill, we'll be covering it and more. Cohen, thank you. Beatdown Brigaders, thank you. We'll see you next time on Political Beatdown. Shout out Brigaders. Shout out Midas and Mighty.